In today's video, we're going to be talking about Jesperi Kotkaniemi and how good I think he can be and what kind of impact he can have on the Montreal Canadiens. But I do have a guest on the channel for this video, Hockey Circle. Make sure you guys check out his channel. He's a Montreal Canadiens fan, so that's kind of why I wanted his input on this. So make sure you go subscribe to him. I'm going to link his stuff down in the description below. So let's get right into the video. Jesperi Kotkaniemi was drafted in the first round, 3rd overall in the 2018 NHL draft by the Montreal Canadiens. He's 6'2", 187 pounds. He spent his 2017-2018 season over in the Liga with Assat, where in 57 games he put up 10 goals and 19 assists for 29 points. As a teenager playing against grown men, I would say those are some pretty good stats, and there's no question that he's not talented. He has great hockey IQ, but this was a really deep draft, and throughout the year he really wasn't projected to go all that high. Usually it was around 8 to 15, and I really started looking into Kotkaniemi when I seen that the Detroit Red Wings were interested in drafting him, and that is kind of when he shot up everybody's rankings. And then it was all but confirmed that at the draft the Montreal Canadiens would draft Kotkaniemi. I still kind of thought they would go a different route, but at the draft they really did mix everything up, taking Kotkaniemi. It's a high risk, high reward move. It definitely could suck for them in the future, or it definitely could pay off, as they could have their number one guy. You guys all know the memes of that woman in the Montreal Canadiens jersey just absolutely shocked when they drafted him. There's no question he's a talented guy, but it is questionable some of the players that they passed on to get him, and usually you draft by best player available, but in this case the Montreal Canadiens drafted positionally, as that is how bad they needed the number one center. And there is no question that Kotkaniemi is a very talented guy, but I don't really think he's NHL ready now, and I'm not sure if he will be in the next 2 years. I'm thinking in 3 years he'll be ready to be a full-time NHLer, but he definitely could surprise some people, as he's tall and he weighs a lot to compete at an NHL level. So I think Kotkaniemi does have a bright future, but it is always going to be up in the air on if the Montreal Canadiens should have drafted somebody else. Kotkaniemi is one of many first rounders of this previous draft that have already signed their entry-level contract, and that does kind of point towards that maybe he is going to have a crack at the Montreal Canadiens lineup, and they don't really have too many stars on this team, so I don't think it's too far-fetched to say Kotkaniemi definitely could compete for a spot on that lineup, and I think that would be good for Montreal Canadiens fans just to see something refreshing as opposed to the team that they have been icing the past 2 seasons. And Kotkaniemi is a very skilled guy. He has an amazing shot, amazing hockey IQ. The thing that was kind of dampering his draft stock coming in though was kind of his skating ability, as he wasn't seen as the best skater, but that is something that can be tremendously improved over the summer training with NHL trainers and stuff like that. So I definitely think he'll see a big improvement this summer when it comes to skating, and he is coming to a team like Brady Tkachuk, like Zadina, and like many of the first round picks that don't really have too many expectations. But Montreal is certainly a hard market to play in, and if you don't succeed, you are going to get ripped apart by the fans and media. Kind of take a look at Jonathan Drouin. He gets a lot of slack for what he's done for the Canadiens so far, but I definitely think if they're patient with Kotkaniemi and they don't rush him, that he will be a stud for them, and he potentially could be their number one center in a couple of years. Like I said, Kotkaniemi's coming to a Canadiens team that doesn't really have any expectations. They finished last year with a 29, 40, and 13 record for 71 points, which finished them 6th in the Atlantic Division, only ahead of the Buffalo Sabres. Their leading point scorer was Brendan Gallagher. Their leading goal scorer was Brendan Gallagher with 31 goals. And like I said, I definitely think Kotkaniemi should have a crack at this lineup. I wouldn't be opposed to it. They kind of could do something like what the Panthers did with Owen Tippett, as they brought him up and then brought him down, and then kind of what like the Nashville Predators did to get Eli Tolvanen in some games and just kind of get his feet wet heading into next season so he knows what to expect. Or if he impresses at training camp and preseason, you could start him in the opening night roster. So it's going to be exciting to see what the Montreal Canadiens do with Kotkaniemi, as he's a very skilled guy. In my opinion, he has the skill, the shot, and the IQ to play in the NHL right now, and the size, but it's just up in the air on if he has the skating ability and if he's just ready to take on a full-time NHL role. I put together some line combinations for Kotkaniemi that I think we could see if he is in the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens next season. The first one I put up is Paul Byron, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and Andrew Shaw. I think this would be a pretty decent line because Byron definitely is fast and has some scoring touch, and that could kind of help Kotkaniemi playing with a speedster. And then you have Andrew Shaw on the line to get some grit and kind of protect your rookie. So I think that would be a pretty decent line. The next one is Domi, Kotkaniemi, and Gallagher. I think this would probably be the Canadiens' second line, and it wouldn't be too bad because Brendan Gallagher, arguably, not really arguably, he was their best player last season, and you could have the first line as Drouin, Pacioretty, and then fill out the wing with whoever you want. But I think if you put Domi, Kotkaniemi, and Gallagher on the second line where they wouldn't have to play against other teams' top lines, I think they could benefit from that, and I think we could see Kotkaniemi put up some good amount of points, and I think Max Domi would benefit off that as well. The third one, Delarose, Kotkaniemi, and Scherbak. I wouldn't really like this one as much because I think for Kotkaniemi really to benefit, he needs to play with very fast and talented guys. And I'm not saying they're not talented. I'm just saying there are more people on the Canadiens that I would prefer him to play with. So this is kind of just one I put on there. This would probably be their third or fourth line. And then I have Arturi Lehkonen, Kotkaniemi, and Pacioretty. You could have this as the second line, and then you could have Domi, Drouin, and Gallagher's the first line. You could kind of do whatever you want there. So the Montreal Canadiens do have a lot of flexibility with their lineup, as they're not expected to make the playoffs at all. They're expected to be rebuilding for the next couple of seasons. So I definitely think that you put Kotkaniemi in here and get his feet wet, and then maybe send him back down. Or like I said, if he impresses, keep him in the lineup, see what he does, but you just don't want to stunt his growth and kind of rush him. So that's kind of my thoughts on Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I'm now going to hand it over to Hockey Circle so he can talk about his favorite team's top pick in this previous NHL draft. Make sure you guys subscribe to him down in the comment section below, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Alright, so what is up, guys? Thank you so much to Nyquist for the invite on being on his channel today. It means a lot for me to collab with one of the best hockey YouTubers out there, and just to have the opportunity to speak in front of you guys as well. I'm very glad that I'm here, so let me try to give you my best analysis on Kotkaniemi. Can he be that number one center that Montreal Canadiens desperately needs him to be? And I think so. So let me try to break down his game right now. Where is that? So first off, 29 points in 57 games is definitely impressive for a 17-year-old playing in a men's league in Finland. Just to give you an idea, let me give you 3 different comparisons on top of players playing in league during their draft year, just to show how much impressive those numbers really are. Now, Sebastian Aho at 11 points in 27 games, Barkov 48 in 53, Mikko Rantanen at 28 points in 56 games. And Rantanen at 84 points last year. Yes, he played with McKinnon, but just some very impressive numbers as well. Now, I saw the game he played in Def Camp here in Montreal, and overall, here's my insight on what is great about this game and what he needs to work on. First off, his IQ is amazing. He's definitely, when you watch him play and when you kind of log down on him for a full shift, he's definitely in the right place at the right time. His two-way game is impressive. He goes up and down the ice very easily. Now, I think he can work on his just overall quickness and just that acceleration that you need to have to play in the NHL. A bit of his agility as well, because he is 6'2", 187 pounds, which is definitely an NHL-ready frame for sure. But overall, his skating ability just needs a bit of fine-tuning to be fully NHL-ready. His passing ability is great. He has a very underrated shot. His release was nasty and was very dangerous and hard for the goalie to predict and control for the rebound. So I think if he can learn to shoot the puck a bit more and improve his skating, he's definitely going to be that two-way center force that the Montreal needs him to be. Now, he played mostly of last year on the wing in a mixed role going up and down the lineup. So I think what would be best for him would just to spend one more full year in Liga playing in his natural position of center, playing that top role during a full year so he can work on his skating ability. He can learn of actually winning face-off against men, because that's not an easy part as well. And just overall get that feeling of shooting the puck more, and just overall, again, work on his passing abilities and his IQ, which is definitely still through the roof. That's definitely the best part of his game for sure. So here's what I expect from Kotkaniemi down the road. His ETA to NHL for me, I think he can play in the 19-20 season. So not this year, but next year, I think he's going to slide to the lineup for sure. I think he's going to post around a point per game next year in Liga for sure, playing that top 6 role and center position. Afterwards, I think he's going to have like 1 or 2 years playing in Montreal, going a bit again up and down the lineup, playing a third line center role, probably posting around 25-35 his first season, and then going to that 45-50 range. In his third year, I think he's really going to explode and being that 70-point guy for the rest of his career that we expect him to be, and I think he can definitely be for sure. Because when you look at Barkov again, just to draw another comparison, yes, he made the jump the first year in the NHL, but he posted, I think, 24 points his first year, and I think, like, again, 30-something his second year before making the 59 and 66 games, I think, jump in his third year. So overall, I think it would be best for him to spend one more year in Liga, work on his footwork, just getting that release to the net a bit more often, and he's going to be that two-way force that the Montreal can expect him to be. So that's my quick analysis on Kotkaniemi. I'm going to let you get back to Nyquist ASAP, and thank you again for letting me a chance of being here today means a lot. And that's my 4-1-1 on Kotkaniemi. Hopefully, as an Abs fan, I'm a bit still tortured about that Galchenyuk trade, but overall, hopefully we can expect him to be that #1 center that we desperately need in Montreal, that we've been looking for the past 15 years. So thank you for the invite, Nyquist, again. See you guys later.
So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure, please go down, subscribe to Hockey Circle. He's an amazing NHL channel. He actually has a vlog on his channel where he's been to all 31 NHL arenas, which I think is pretty awesome. And he does give good analysis on not just the Montreal Canadiens, but the entire league. So like I said, make sure to go down, subscribe to him, subscribe to me, drop a like on the video, and check out our collaboration over on his channel. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.